So, hello everyone. As you can see, changes have occurred. Protect and Survive Living History is kind of no more. Certainly, it's on the back burner for the time being. I basically reenacted civil defence for 4 years, and I felt it was time to move on, perhaps cover other interests, other things. So, we've rebranded. We are now Sound and Alarm Living History, taking our name from the motto of the United Kingdom Warning and Monitoring Organisation, and that will be the main focus of the group, both the UKWMO and the Royal Observer Corps. So, we shall get underway. I thought we'd start with something that, as far as I'm aware, is completely undocumented prior to this video. I've searched YouTube, I've searched Google, I've looked through museum archives, and some of this stuff just has not been documented either in photographs or on film before. So there'll be a little jump cut, and we'll get on with looking at kit, which is what you're all here for, let's be honest. So just to begin, we'll take an extremely brief look at the uniform that came with the paperwork. Obviously, you'll have to excuse the fact that the jacket isn't buttoned up, but this is in very, very, very tiny sizes, and it will not fit Woody correctly enough for me to do up the buttons. It's a 1951 RAF pattern battle dress uniform. Very, very similar, as you can see, to the World War II pattern of battle dress, with some differences, such as the open collar that didn't appear on World War II battle dress. The World War II battle dress buttons all the way up, rather than having this open collar. The only difference really between this for Royal Observer Corps and for the RAF is in the shoulder insignia, which we will have a very brief look at now. So, as you can see, you've got the pre-1972 shoulder titles. They changed in 1972, funnily enough, to a sort of darker blue, but this is in the grey serge wool to match the jacket, along with the grey serge for the group number, which is Group 8, which is Coventry. And down the sleeve, you have the red Spitfire, which is for 5 annual passes of the Master Test, which was a sort of yearly test on aircraft recognition, monitoring, reporting, and so on and so forth, to kind of test the observers, make sure that they knew their stuff. The braces that came with the uniform, I haven't put these on, these came with the trousers, are quite interesting because they're actually in the ROC colours. So whether these were some kind of custom made or private purchase arrangement, I'm not sure. I haven't really been able to find out a lot about them, as you'd expect with the big civilian braces. So there's going to be another jump cut now, and we will sit down and get into the main focus of the video, which will be the undocumented, well, previously undocumented, certainly, paperwork. So here we are at the desk with the paperwork that came with the 1951 pattern uniform. As I said in the introduction, I suspect that none of this has previously been covered in any great detail anywhere. I've been through Google, YouTube, ROC Facebook groups, ROC websites, and so on and so forth. But we'll move on to the Royal Observer Corps stuff in a second. Interestingly, what came with it was this. So we'll start on the left. It's kind of a chronological go round. This isn't Royal Observer Corps. This is his Christmas casual force for the post office. Interestingly enough, so we know that he was a postman before he was a part-time observer, just detailing his work over the Christmas period of 1957. Quite why this was in the top pocket of the battle dress, I'm not entirely sure. However, it is named to the same observer as the rest of the paperwork. So whether he was recruited out of the post office into the Corps, I'm not entirely sure. But we will get this out of the way and move on to the stuff that you're here for, which is the Royal Observer Corps stuff. So this is a booklet for one of the annual training camps for the ROC. These, as the name would suggest, were annual camps, like once a year camps. Don't let these dates down here fool you. It was not a month-long camp. It lasted for around 4 days to a week, where they would run through various aspects of Corps service, monitoring, post-prep and so on and so forth, but we'll get into that in more detail as the video goes along. So we will start with the green book, so we'll get this out of the way for the time being and bring this in. As you can see, this is for the training camp at RAF Lindum in Yorkshire between June and July of 73. So we'll open this up now and just kind of go through it and have a look at each page in detail. So starting off, we've got a great long list of all of the people who were important within the Corps. These are all the officers, including the camp officers as well as the commanding officer for the entirety of the Corps, the camp commandant, the senior training officer, the camp adjutant, and the camp staff officers, and so on and so forth. On this page, we have a message from the commandant welcoming the observers from various groups to RAF Lindum and welcoming them to the training camp. As you can see, it's very brief. It's just kind of a run through, welcome, this is a new camp venue, and so on and so forth. Again, if you want to read any of this in more detail, please feel free to pause the video at any point and read through it at your own leisure. So on the next couple of pages, we've got a history of RAF Lindum. And if Lindum sounds familiar, it's because the Lindum rescue equipment was invented there during the Second World War. Unfortunately, now it no longer exists. It was converted into a prison sometime in the 1980s and is now HMP Lindum. It was home to both the Central Bomber Establishment of the Armament Division of the RAF Technical College No. 1 Group, and in its latter service, the No. 5 Air Navigation School, which is probably contemporaneous to this because there is no more flying, as you can see. It was transferred to Scampton. So if you want to have a read through this, please feel free to pause and just have a little look through it at your own leisure. I'm kind of speed running this for the purposes of trying to keep it interesting and not waffling on too much. So on the next few pages, this is just guidance, rules and regulations and so on and so forth for the attending the camp. Interestingly enough, at the top here, as you can see, there are some notes. I haven't been able to decipher them. But it seems like it was notes taken down perhaps during one of the lectures or something where they didn't have access to writing paper or something, so he's just scribbled it at the top of his welcome booklet, which is quite amusing. But as you can see, you've got kind of all of the general rules and, how to travel, where to travel from, what to do if you come by rail, what to do when you arrive. Again, feel free to pause the video and go through any of this in detail. You've then got kind of what will be going on various days for both officers and observers. You've also got kind of buildings allocated, payment of allowances and expenses, national insurance contributions, what to do if you're an employed person, married women and so on and so forth. We'll kind of gloss over that because we'll just file that under stuff that probably wouldn't fly nowadays. What to do with your mail, telephone calls, the banking facilities, recreation and entertainment, contributions to the camp fund, basically a contribution towards the NAFI fund because obviously these guys weren't RAF personnel and they were quite a drain on the NAFI by all accounts, consuming, sort of all manner of drinks and so on and so forth. They also interestingly have an aircraft drawing and model building competition detailed here. Again, feel free to pause this and have a read at your own leisure. You've then got a map of the whole of the camp as it would have been in 1973. I suspect a lot of this is no longer there. A lot of the site got basically bulldozed flat when they converted it to use for HM prisons. So, next page is just a continuation of the aircraft competition and so on and so forth. You've then got your camp regs. how to wear your uniform, what you should be wearing on your uniform. This is interestingly around the time the 1972 pattern came in. So as you can see, that they must wear the belt that comes with the 1972 pattern trousers. And I will be covering the 1972 pattern uniform in some detail at a later date on the channel. How to behave, salute officers, parades, and so on and so forth. Don't go on the runways, the married quarters are out of bounds, female observers' accommodation is out of bounds to all male personnel, playing fields and grassed areas, and so on and so forth. Rules and regulations about your barracks and keeping them neat and tidy, your private cars, where you should park them and what you should do with them, what to do if you require medical attention at any point during the camp. What to do, in terms of security, that you can't photograph RAF personnel, only what the ROC are doing, what to do with the identified file, lost property, etc., etc. And now, the outline of the weekly camp programme. Going forward as Sound and Alarm Living History, I'm hoping to put on some training days for people that are interested to run through kind of use of some of the equipment, reporting, and so on and so forth, so that we can have a display that is as close to original methodology and practice of the Corps as is humanly possible. But more on that again at future dates in future videos. As you can see, it was only a 5-day camp with the dispersal day on the Saturday. And then on the last page, you have the name of another RAF station near Bath, which I presume was to be the next camp that he would attend. And then on the very, very back, printed on the cover, you have a list of the Royal Observer Corps groups. Our chap is from number 8 group, which is Warwickshire Rugby, and then later Coventry. So we will now move on to the last little bit of paperwork, which is this, which is his camp card for the same camp at RAF Lindham. As you can see, it's got his barrack block, his room number, his group number, his temporary camp number, because obviously these guys weren't military, but they still had to be issued with a number. His rank, which was observer, the name and address of his next of kin, and then on the back, a detailed breakdown of the 4-day training programme. So you've got map reading, radio use, map reading again, use of fallout detection equipment, mobile monitoring, PE. On Wednesday, they had a free afternoon. That must be nice. Thursday, they had post prep, how to prepare the post for use, and ROCMET, which is the Royal Observer Corps Meteorological Service, because obviously weather reporting when concerned with fallout and so on is extremely important, because fallout is carried by wind, by rain, is affected by atmospheric conditions. But again, I'll be going through ROCMET and their role in later videos. And then the Friday, you had use of the fixed survey meter. We had plotting, triangulation, reporting, and then the final assembly. So there'll be a jump cut now, and we shall round off the video. So I hope you all found that informative, enjoyable, interesting. Going forwards, I will be uploading much more regularly to this channel. I'm aiming for about 1 video a week into the imminent future, going through kit and equipment of the ROC and the UKWMO and various related civil defence organisations. And I will also be doing sort of bunker and post visits and so on and so forth. I should probably talk about Sound and Alarm Living History, because we are actively recruiting for new members at the moment. I will put a link somewhere down there to the group's Instagram page. So feel free to drop me an inbox if you're interested in getting involved. We don't charge sort of group dues or anything. It's an entirely free to join group. We just ask that you have your own personal public liability insurance. If you are interested in joining and don't have your own personal liability insurance, we can best advise you on where to go for that. But otherwise, we have a group Discord that is now invite only for new members. I might open that up more generally going forwards. We'll see how interest goes in the group and the subject matter. As I said, much more content to come, covering some more unusual and obscure bits of ROC kit that you ordinarily wouldn't see anywhere else, really, because there's not many channels that cover this to start with. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.